The Hundred Years' War was a series of conflicts fought between the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of France from 1337 to 1453. The war was not a single continuous conflict, but rather a series of intermittent battles, truces, and negotiations over 116 years. Below is a summary of the key events and factors that shaped the war. Causes of the war. Dynastic disputes. The primary cause of the Hundred Years' War was the dispute over the rightful heir to the French throne. In 1328, the Capetian King of France, Charles IV, died without a male heir. His closest male relative was his nephew, Edward III of England, whose mother, Isabella, was the sister of Charles IV. However, the French nobility invoked the Salic law, which prohibited inheritance of the throne through the female line, and chose Philip VI of the House of Valois as the new king. Edward III, feeling his claim was stronger, eventually declared himself King of France in 1337, sparking the conflict. Territorial conflicts. England had long held territories in France, particularly in Aquitaine, which were a source of tension. The French crown sought to assert greater control over these territories, leading to further friction between the two kingdoms. Economic factors. Control over the prosperous region of Flanders, which was economically dependent on English wool, was another point of contention. The region's importance to both kingdoms added an economic dimension to the war. Key phases and battles. The Edwardian phase, 1337 to 1360. Battle of Sluis, 1340, a naval battle in which the English fleet destroyed a large French fleet, securing English control of the English Channel. Battle of Crécy, 1346, a significant English victory where the use of the longbow proved decisive against the French knights. Siege of Calais, 1346 to 1347. Following the victory at Crécy, Edward III besieged and captured the strategic port of Calais, which became a key English stronghold for the remainder of the war. Treaty of Bertigny, 1360. This treaty ended the Edwardian phase, with Edward III renouncing his claim to the French throne in exchange for expanded territories in Aquitaine and a substantial ransom for the French king, John II, who had been captured at the Battle of Poitiers, 1356. The Caroline phase, 1369 to 1389. Renewal of hostilities. Hostilities resumed in 1369 under Charles V of France, who sought to reclaim lost territories. The French avoided large-scale battles, focusing on guerrilla tactics and sieges. Bertrand du Guesclin, the French general who successfully employed hit-and-run tactics to weaken English positions and gradually recaptured much of the territory lost in the previous phase. Stalemate and truce. The phase ended with a stalemate, and both sides agreed to a truce in 1389, though tensions remained. The Lancastrian phase, 1415 to 1453. Battle of Agincourt, 1415. Henry V of England achieved a stunning victory against a numerically superior French force. The English longbowmen played a crucial role in this victory, decimating the French knights. Treaty of Troyes, 1420. This treaty was a major diplomatic victory for England, recognizing Henry V as the heir to the French throne and arranging his marriage to Catherine of Valois, the daughter of Charles VI of France. It effectively disinherited Charles VI's son, the Dauphin Charles, later Charles VII. Joan of Arc and the Siege of Orleans, 1429. The tide of the war began to turn in favor of the French with the emergence of Joan of Arc, a peasant girl who claimed to have received visions from God instructing her to support Charles VII. Her leadership during the Siege of Orleans revitalized the French cause and led to the Dauphin's coronation as King Charles VII in Reims. Battle of Castillon, 1453, the last major battle of the war, in which the French forces decisively defeated the English. The use of artillery by the French played a significant role in their victory. Consequences of the war. End of English territorial holdings in France. By the end of the war, England had lost almost all its territories in France, except for the port of Calais, which remained under English control until 1558. Rise of French nationalism. The war contributed to the development of a strong sense of French national identity. The success of figures like Joan of Arc became symbols of French unity and resistance against foreign domination. Economic and social impact. The war devastated large areas of France, leading to widespread poverty, famine, and depopulation. In England, the cost of the war contributed to internal unrest and the eventual outbreak of the Wars of the Roses, a series of civil wars over the English throne. Military evolution. The Hundred Years' War saw significant developments in military tactics and technology, including the use of the longbow, gunpowder, and artillery. The decline of the feudal knight and the rise of professional armies marked a shift in the nature of warfare in Europe. End of medieval feudalism. The war contributed to the decline of feudalism in both England and France. The need for professional soldiers and the rise of a more centralized state weakened the power of the nobility and shifted authority towards the monarchy. Conclusion. The Hundred Years' War was a defining conflict of the late medieval period, shaping the destinies of both England and France. It marked the end of the medieval era and the beginning of the transition to the early modern period in Europe. The war's legacy can be seen in the evolution of national identities, military tactics, and the political landscapes of both nations.